Perfect. Okay, so I just wanted to start off by sharing some updates of what's coming for January before we get into the Q&A. I won't go into like huge amounts of detail, but just to keep you up to date. So we have a new version of Titan X and Titan AC coming out either this week or next week. Titan AC specifically, the biggest update for that is gonna have profit baskets, which is essentially like a trade management, risk management sort of feature that we have in Titan X, where it basically allows you to set the amount of profit you want it to take per trade and whether you want to start like a trailing stop loss once it's hit a certain amount of profits and things like that. So it should really help increase the consistency of the strategy and improve the results. Titan X and Titan AC are both getting a support and resistance feature. So when you enter or exit trades, you can now enable the support and resistance feature, which will essentially be an extra sort of entry criteria or exit criteria, where you can set it to, for example, enter at a 15-minute support zone and then exit at like a 1 hour resistance zone. So again, that should hopefully help us see some good results and improve the strategies. Backtesting wise, speed wise for Titan X, is going to be improved by around 3 times. So we should be able to backtest 3 times faster on Titan X going forward, which is great. And lastly, we have the random entry delay and exit delay feature, which will make making strategies a lot easier, unique strategies a lot easier for people. So you just download the set file off the leaderboard, and then it will automatically randomly do the delay for you, which is great. Lastly, very exciting update for 2024. It should be, I won't go into too much detail about it. Joe will make a video about this and share the math and everything, but we've figured out a way to take prop firm challenges risk-free. So what this means is, say you're taking $100,000 prop firm challenge, which costs like $500. Normally, if you would fail that account, you would just lose that $500 that you paid for the challenge, of course. But what we figured out is there's a way to hedge it on a personal account. So like a live broker account on IC Markets or 8cap, whatever broker. So that way, if you fail the account, it will actually make $500 on your live account. So whenever you fail account, it's going to make that challenge feedback on the personal account. So you can just withdraw that money from your personal account and then buy another challenge with it again. So this way, it's going to be completely risk-free going forward in 2024 if you want to do it, of course. It's not too much extra work or anything like that. It's just simply a trade copier that takes the inverse of your trades. So say you're taking buys on your prop firm challenge, it will take the exact same trades on your personal account, but it will take sells to like hedge it in the opposite direction. So if you fail your challenge, you'll make $500 to pay for the challenge fee. This is something we're really excited about. It's really cool. It doesn't break any of the prop firm rules. We'll be doing everything exactly the same. You'll be using the same strategies, whatever. The only thing different that's going on is that you're going to be essentially doing it risk-free. So yeah, it's brilliant. We'll obviously go into more detail on that after we finish testing, but so far it's looking perfect. There's nothing wrong with it. It's working great. And yeah, we'll explain the math and how to do it and whatnot in another video before January, but just wanted to kind of share that idea out with you guys, just so you know. Cool. Okay, let's get started. Does anyone have any questions? You can just type them in the chat, or if you want, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you and you can ask the question. It's up to you. Are we going to get rich or not? Yeah. Well, hopefully, especially now that is risk-free. Essentially, you won't be losing any money. You would only be gaining money. So going into 2024 with this new sort of things, really exciting. How withdrawals work once a payout is issued. So essentially, once you secure your TP on your funded account, you'd wait till the payout date. On that payout date, you would then request a refund, a payout, and then you can pick your payout method. So whether it be crypto or bank transfer or any sort of other payment method that they offer. they then pay you out, and then they give you a new funded account to carry on trading. And I repeat what I just said? Yes. So essentially, we have, again, I don't want to go into too much detail because the math is a bit complex, and there'll be a video release. But essentially, we found a risk-free way to take prop firm challenges while not changing anything we do strategy-wise. So it would essentially hedge your prop firm trades on a personal account. So if you fail a phase one, you would make that challenge feedback on your personal account. Yeah, so the second and third phase and the funded phase is risk-free. Again, we'll explain the math in more detail further down the line before January. But we've worked out a way to make it risk-free all the way from phase one to funded on your first payout. So it's like completely risk-free. Even if you pass phase one, pass phase two, and get payout, you would be essentially breaking even or making slight profits on your first payout. If you pass phase one, fail phase two, or pass phase one, pass phase two, and then fail your funded account, then again, you still get all your money back and it'll be risk-free. Again, I really don't want to spend the whole Zoom call going over this because we're going to release a video and like an Excel sheet with all the math and showing you how to do it before January. But I just want to kind of share it with you guys just so you know. Short walkthrough of my setup. Yep, I can do that in a second. Is it best to wait until January to start trading? Yes. So typically the first week of January is similar to like the end of December where no one's really trading. There's low volume in the markets. It's not really a high chance of passing. So I'm personally going to be recommending to start on the second or the third week. I'll see the leaderboard and see how the strategies are doing at the time and let you know nearer to the time. Is there a stop loss calculator available too? I don't know if we have one, but the strategies all have their built-in drawdown and risk management, so that's all good. We shouldn't need a stop loss calculator for anything. When does that start? It's going to be going forward in January, that risk-free method. So the only extra thing we need to do is set up a trade copier and obviously your personal live account. There's no sort of too many extra steps or anything for that. We get to the point where we are discussing Isaac, I'm just reading your question about MTP Paralyzer and automatically randomizing and optimizing for us. We are looking into something like that, but that's very far down the line. With our new unique delay randomizer in the new update that's coming out this week or next week, it will make making strategies unique and random very easy. It'll be a lot easier than it is now, essentially. Okay. Doug, I see you got your hand raised. I'm just going to unmute you so you can ask a question.
Great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. All right. Yeah, my question is just a little involved. So it's mainly around the strategy tester. I'm doing optimization with that. I guess my main challenge is that I really don't understand a lot of the variables like, risk amount. I mean, that's sort of like, I understand that to a degree, or other variables like ATR or so I throw in different settings, like I'll lower whatever the strategy setting is by 20% and raise it by 20. And I may get, I don't know, 5,000 tests run. But I really don't have a strategy around it. It's just sort of like a shotgun approach where I'm just hoping something works. I'd like a strategy where I really understand the variables a little bit better and I know what things might improve a strategy's performance and what things are kind of a waste of time.
Mhm.
Um, and you know that goes for both Titan AC and X. So I was just wondering if you can speak to some of the variables that you know really improve your strategy's performance either through profit or reducing drawdown.
Sure. So first thing I would suggest is let me share my screen for you. Um, let me share the Discord. Can you see my Discord, everyone?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. So if you go down to this EA inputs channel and click on this document. Oh, sorry, let me just share my whole screen. Sorry if it's a bit big. I've got a really wide monitor. Um, so essentially there's this document that goes through all of the settings and what they do and how they work. So this is something when I joined. I just looked through this whole document and learned all the settings. And then I actually went into MT5 and started playing around with these settings and see how they affect strategies and the results. Um, there's no like one set way to optimize, or there's no like five five inputs that are just like the most important that if you always optimize them, they'll give you a better strategy or anything like that. It's very much just trial and error. You know, we don't know how a setting is going to affect a whole year's worth of data, for example, a whole year's worth of results. So it's very much just trial and error where you just play around with the settings, get a feel for them, learn how changing a certain setting may affect the strategy in a certain way. Um, and just by kind of seeing how a strategy trades, you may notice, okay, a lot of the times it's hitting EP and then going in the direction of my trade, and it would have hit TP if I just had a slightly bigger EP amount, for example. So you can learn things like that and then kind of adjust the strategy to that. So for example, some things that I've noticed just doing this from a year, I always notice a higher EP amount, let's say 2 to 3%, typically gives better results than something with like a 1% EP amount. Um, Another thing I notice is having like a daily goal of 4%, so just aiming for 4% per day. I notice that's something that increases the consistency over a year rather than aiming for, let's say, 8% in a day. So there's little things that you'll pick up that you can include in most of your optimizations, but realistically, it's just mainly trial and error and doing whatever comes to you. So if you copy exactly how someone else optimized, for example, you're never going to make a strategy better than them, or you may make a strategy slightly better than them or something, but you would never make up your own unique one that's just completely different from everyone else. Like it's good to try different things because you never know what that thing that you're trying differently is gonna do to the strategy. You may discover as like a golden grail strategy that has like 100% pass rate over a year by just playing with some settings that no one's really played with before or something like that. So it's very much just trial and error and seeing the results, and then once you see the results, you can see what certain settings are helping them results get better, and then you can play around with that setting a little bit more and stuff. It really comes with experience, just learning all the settings, learning how everything works, and then just keep going back and forth, optimizing and changing things until you like find something really good, essentially. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, that does.
Perfect.
Thank you. Do you, I guess a follow-up would be, do you change a lot of variables um, in each test, or do you, let's say, like we were looking at lot size multiplier, would you isolate that one and see if that's
Mhm.
beating the strategy and then go to the next, or?
Sure. So mainly what I do is I download the strategy from the leaderboard, just to work as a base. And then from that base, I may optimize like 5 to 10 things to get like a broad new strategy essentially. So I may optimize the lot size multiplier, the pip set multiplier, profit basket, that's like the trade management. the EP amount, maybe daily goal. That I mainly play around with the things that affect the strategy the most. So that would be like the lot size, the EP, the profit basket, like I said, maybe even the MA values. So like that's the entry criteria. So if you learn the settings, you'll know what, and if you know Forex as well, you know what things affect strategies the most. But that doesn't mean that would be the thing that makes a strategy better, if you know what I mean. They're the things that would completely change the strategy, but they're not the things that may make it better or worse. They're just the main effectors of the strategy. So that's what I mainly do. So I go in and I optimize with loads of different things that are 5 to 10, and then I look at them results. And then I further optimize a little bit more. So I may run a wide test. So my lot size may be from 1 to 3. And then I see the best results are lot sizes from 2 to 2.5. So then I'll shorten my optimization to that. And yeah, I essentially optimize on a big range, and then I get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until I find something really good. But yeah, again, it's hard for me to say exactly what I do because it's different every time. I may look at the results and then think of something. I may look at the way it trades in the visual tester and find something and then change it or whatever. It's really just down to trial and error and experience and just trying new things, really.
Okay, great. Thank you. And thank you for this Q&A, Prit. I think this is super valuable and something that I've been hoping for.
Sure, no problem. Wade, gonna unmute you. I'll get to the written questions in a second, just after Wade here.
Good morning. You can call me JD. But
Morning, JD.
hey, first of all, Prit, I want to give you your kudos, man. You are an awesome, coach, man. You listen. And if you could kind of take a survey about, see if people prefer this open mic and the screen sharing idea, because just like with Doug, he had in-depth questions.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, me personally, I wouldn't be able to type all of that because first of all, I'm not a good typist. I know people think by me typing in caps that I'm yelling, but I'm just not a good typist. And with being able to have an open mic, I can talk to you, and when I share the screen, you can visually see what I'm doing wrong and help walk me through it. So I really appreciate you listening, man. Well, my question is, which you probably get in, I guess, a little bit later. I think the optimization and the being able to back test on the MT5 is really awesome. But to be able to master it to the point where you feel comfortable doing it on your own, that's, as you know, we've been going back and forth with this for a while. And I consider myself a rather intelligent, I would like to think a rather intelligent person. It's just that through the trainings and the videos, I see it, I think I get it, but when I'm by myself, man, it's like I get stuck. So I think with this, again, with this open mic and the screen sharing, I think we all will walk away from this a lot better. So again, I want to give you kudos, and I appreciate you
Thank you.
giving this live Zoom, man, and being able to not just do a Q&A where pretty much you're doing all the talking and people are typing, but sometimes, as you know, in text messages and typing, your message doesn't come across clear. So they still kind of lost. But I appreciate it, man. So I'm gonna sit back, let you do what you're gonna do, man. But again, thank you for listening, man.
No problem, thank you. Just go off that, I will probably do this a little bit more frequently. I don't know how often I can do it, obviously, because in January we're going to be busy again, so I don't know if I have time for it, but I'll definitely do another one of these, probably just based all on optimization. I know that's quite a big topic that everyone likes, so I'll definitely do another one of these purely based off on optimization, where I can share my screen and kind of show everyone some stuff. But I don't want to waste like the whole Zoom call just talking about optimization. I want to get on to some other questions as well that you guys may have. I'm just going to go back to the written messages quickly for now, and then I'll come back to the voice questions. So can Titan X stop trading if there is a loss on at 2% on the funded account? Yes, it can. So that's the EP amount. If you set that to whatever 2% of your account size is, it will stop there. But obviously, you need to backtest that and make sure that it works good and it gives good results. Typically, most of our strategies have a 2 to 3% stop loss for the day. I tried to create my own strategy last night, modifying an existing one. A lot of the true false settings were not available to select. Tech Support said there was an update. I think look right to them. Okay. So this may be with Titan AC. So in MTP, some of the settings you can't tick and make true or false on Titan AC yet on MTP. That's being worked on. If you do want to do it, you can either do it in MT5. You can just load the strategy into MT5 and then change it from true or false, and then resave the ini file and then load that into MTP. Or you can just double click on the ini file and just scroll down to the setting that you want to change from false to true and just change that in there, or from true to false. That would be the best thing to do in the meantime. Is it necessary to create your own strategy, or is it sufficient to follow the leaderboard? It's very, very not needed to create your own strategy. This is something people do, you know, after they've learned the bot really well, after they've been here for months, after they're maybe successful, that they just want to create their own strategy that they've personally made that's catered around their psychology, something that they know the strategy really well. It's more of a psychology thing rather than something you need. We've had some of our most successful members literally just use the leaderboard strategy, make it unique. So it's absolutely not needed, no. Will there be more prop firms added to the leaderboard? Funding pips, yes, there will be more prop firms added to the leaderboard. I think I explained this yesterday. We only want to add prop firms that are really big. We know they pay out. We know the bot doesn't break any of their rules. We know the leverage is good, etc., etc. So we don't add prop firms on the leaderboard unless we're absolutely certain, you know, it's like a big enough prop firm that have a good reputation and we comply with all their rules and stuff. But we do add a new prop firm to the leaderboard at least every few months at minimum. But yeah, we're definitely always looking to add prop firms on our leaderboard. Funded pips is one that I'm probably going to recommend next to add to the leaderboard because it's quite good. I've been using it myself as well. Cool. Let's go back to the voice questions. Just unmuted you.
Yes, hi, pal. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, well, I wanted to find out, you see, with Blue Edge Forex, they issue about 10 licenses,
Yeah.
which can be used on any prop firms. Now, let's say if someone has run out from all the licenses, let's say they have used all of them. For example, if I go for a 10K challenge, then I will go for another one. By the time I get to 100K, I'll have used all of them. So if I want to get more licenses, or if I want to get more opportunity, do I need to buy more, or what's the progress about it?
Sure. So I'm not sure if you know this, but the licenses are interchangeable. So whenever you pass an account, let's say you pass a phase 1 account and then you get a new phase 2 account, you can actually replace that phase 1 account license with the phase 2 account number. And
Right.
if you ever fail an account, you can just remove that license and replace it with a new account. So the only time you would actually have 10 licenses all taken is if you're running 10 accounts simultaneously, essentially, which realistically only like quite successful people would probably be doing. I'm not sure of anyone who's sort of newer or anything that would be running like 10 accounts at once. But if you are doing that and you need more licenses, you can just purchase them from BEF.
No, now I understood you, because you know what it is, I've seen many people on YouTube as well, and recently I think it was Joe Higgin as well who achieved his 1 million funding from prop firm.
Mhm.
That's where I thought at the moment that had he purchased so many licenses to run all of the challenges, or what's the progress about, or what's the story, you know, behind? Because at the end of the day, if you're running out from 10 licenses, then you need to purchase another 10 to run all the automated challenges and so on. So
Yeah.
that's where, because what you just told me that they can be replaced, I didn't know about it, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
Just got to know now.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, like I said, you can just change them. So not many people are going to be running like 10 accounts all at once. Even if you have like a funded account, let's say you're waiting for a payout, you can just remove that account number for the license and use it for like a new account or a new challenge or your next funded account, for example. So realistically, you probably shouldn't be close to using all 10.
No, I'm with you on that. And also, with the Titan AC that has come out,
Yeah.
is that being offered to people as well? Because I was watching on YouTube where Adam said that he's handing it out for free. So is that still happening at the moment as well, or not anymore?
Yes, it's free to use for everyone, and it will be for the rest of the time. You can download it in the Titan AC chat. Let me just share my screen and show you quickly. It will be added to the website to download as well soon. But so if you just scroll down to Titan AC chat over here,
Yeah,
then click on the pinned messages, you will see the downloads right at the top for you there.
right. Yes, yes. Got you. Got you.
Perfect.
And also, in regards to another thing I wanted to ask you, and just the last one,
Sure.
you see, each prop firm, they have their own daily loss limit of either 5% or 8%, so on. Now, you see some people who go further down on the drawdown, they end up losing their accounts.
Mhm.
So what's the best way to manage these losses and not lose the funded accounts?
Okay. So two things. So every strategy on the leaderboard has a max daily loss that it has for the day. I don't think there's many that are above 3%. So you're 2% away from that 5% drawdown anyway. So you shouldn't really see any problems with that. The only time we've seen someone violate that max daily loss of 5% is during news when there's big slippage. So say the candle moves like 100 pips in just like 2 seconds, you may experience slippage and you may lose more than that 3%. It could go to that 5% in extreme cases. So what we're actually doing now on this next update of Titan X and Titan AC, we have a news filter. So we're actually going to start testing all the strategies on the leaderboard with that news filter to close the trades out before news, so we don't experience that big sort of slippage and the risk of violating that max daily loss is very
Nice.
minimal.
Nice. All right, Britt, thank you very much, man.
No
Really
problem at all.
appreciate it.
Cameron, you're up next. You muted that. Oh, perfect.
Hey, doing, bro?
Yeah, good. Thanks, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Is it windy where you are as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, the wind is just crazy. My fence just got blew down, and I
Oh,
just
no.
forced someone to get that fixed. But yeah, I want to ask a few questions. First thing was related to a big concern of mine at the moment is passing challenges on platforms like TFT or TFF, and then have it, let's say for example, I get 5 accounts, have the same thing that happened with my Forex funds happen with these other ones as well, because they're not quite as established as like FTMO, for example.
Yeah.
And I found myself kind of hesitant to get the challenge, even if I have like a high level of certainty that I'm going to pass it. So I just want to get your feedback on that. I know you mentioned previously that you guys choose platforms specifically that meet a certain criteria.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've also seen people who are using platforms like I think it's Flash
My
Fund.
flash funding. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I just wanted to get your opinion on just using other platforms that are not as credible as like FTMO.
Sure. So what happened with my Forex funds? So they were actually the biggest prop firm. They were bigger than FTMO in terms of size and income and payouts. So they was actually the top dog at the time when they went down. FTMO was on the decline because everyone was going to like my Forex funds, for example. So it can happen to any prop firm. Like an issue can arise at any prop firm but the reason we only pick big prop firms for our leaderboard, like TFT, FTMO, they're the biggest ones in the industry. So typically they're going to have the most income. They're going to be the ones that are able to, let's say, survive the low income months of December and still pay people out and stuff. The problem with the smaller ones is when it comes to, let's say, a troubled time like now in December, they don't have that income stream to pay people out because they're a lot smaller. They don't have them reserves, you know, they haven't been running for a whole year. They don't have like a whole year's worth of profits to, you know, dip into to pay people out and things like that. So for me personally, I just like using the big prop firms. I've never had any issues with any prop firms before, apart from my Forex funds going down, of course. In my opinion, I don't see any problem with that. You're going to have the same risk at any prop firm. Any prop firm here can deny you a payout, can ban you, can go down one day. So for me personally, it's just like common sense to just go with the biggest one because they're going to be the most reliable, essentially.
Yeah.
Now,
And what would you consider like the biggest ones? And so you got FTMO. Would you also consider TFT?
so TFT, FTMO, and True Forex funds are literally the three biggest in the market at the moment.
Yeah, it's just because what I saw previously, I know a lot of people in the chat were getting banned, and that just
Yeah.
like raised really big red flags for me, and that's what
Yeah. I want to touch on that quickly, actually, if you don't mind. So we have never seen anyone get banned for like any weird reasons apart from this specific reason, which is like they think other people are managing their accounts or they're sharing accounts or whatever, that like there's a group sort of thing going on. And the only reason that happened is because the VPS company that we were recommending to everyone, they were shipping out their servers with Windows 2012, which is like an old version of Windows. And what they found out was that they're sharing these like device IDs across multiple VPSs. So what that was like we could have like 100 people using this Forex company, for example. And if they're getting funded and getting payouts, that company, the company can see there's like 10 people getting payouts with the same device ID. So they think they're like managing accounts and like group trading or something like that. Their trades were completely different. Like they weren't really accusing them of copy trading or anything like that because they were completely different. The only issue was that the device ID was being shared. So now we know, we didn't know that obviously before, you know, we don't know what the prop firms see on there and whatever. So we didn't know that, but now we know that. We've recommended everyone not to use the Windows 2012 server, and it's fixed if you use like a higher server. So for me personally, just because I already had servers before I joined Blue Edge, all of mine were like Windows 2019 and stuff like that. So I've never had a problem with being banned from a prop firm or being denied a payout, and I've been doing this for just like a year now. So it was just one of them unlucky things that we didn't know about that we now have found out about, and now we can avoid. So yeah.
Yeah. So it's interesting you say that the thing that they didn't mention was that it was down to copy trading in like the emails they sent out. Because that I think for me and a lot of people that was a concern of picking a strategy off the leaderboard. Am I gonna get banned? Am I gonna get
Yeah.
right? So it's good to hear that it was the VPS issue and it's solvable. That's the main thing. Because what I was thinking about was maybe just using FTMO. The challenges are way more expensive, but it comes with that safety. But as you mentioned, other ones are big as well, which is a big realization for me. Because on FTMO, there's not many strategies at the moment that are not as well performing as the ones on other platforms. Granted, it is obviously December, but I wanted to get your opinion on like how does it work with diversifying the platforms and the strategies you put on there? Because at the moment it looks like it's just TFT that the optimizers are uploading strategies for.
Sure. So first of all, the reason why FTMO doesn't have as good strategies is because they have lower leverage on gold than the other prop firms, and they also require you to make 2% more. So if you can imagine, you can't place as high a lot sizes, but you also need to aim for 2% more. So it makes it a lot harder to pass, which is why I personally don't recommend FTMO to anyone unless you're already maxed out on other firms. And also, like you said, it's more expensive. So all round, it's worse for success. But you're paying that extra for like the safety of it being FTMO, like one of the best known prop firms or whatever. Diversifying on different prop firms. So we have a team of optimizers that optimize for every single prop firm. They don't just focus on a specific one really. I guess people may focus on TFT and the other ones just a little bit more, just because FTMO is obviously harder to make strategies for because of the lower leverage and the higher target. But yeah, I would say they literally fly through every single prop firm making strategies for all of them. They don't really pick a specific one.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. One question I had, I know a lot of other people had this, and I know it's mentioned previously. People are asking, should I make a strategy completely by myself that's unique, or should I take a strategy already and just make that unique? A thing that I realized I should do, instead of learning everything and trying to make my own ones, take ones that are already winning and optimize them, even if it is a little bit less of a win rate, like 2-3% less, it is completely unique, and that's a big thing
Yeah.
for me. I wanted to ask you, is there like certain inputs that you play around with? I know it was mentioned in a AMA, I think it was Cyphorex's, but I can't remember what they were. So I wanted to ask, for when you're taking a strategy from the leaderboard and you want to make it completely unique, is there certain things that you play with?
Yeah. So there's some main ones. So lot size, lot multiplier, pip step multiplier. They're ones that I always play around with.
Yeah, sorry, could you again?
Lot size and lot size multiplier, and then pip step and pip step multiplier. They're ones I always do. PB, goal, start and stop. So that's like the trade management. Then the MAs as well, if you want to make it really unique. So that changes the entry criteria. And like daily goal and EP amount. I would say they're like the main ones that change a strategy completely. And then after that, you can obviously play around with other settings as well if you want. But just to go off what you touched on, it is perfectly fine to just use a leaderboard strategy, make it unique and use that. That's what I would personally recommend. Again, people making their own custom strategies, that's just because they have that experience, they have the knowledge, and they just prefer to use something that they've made themselves rather than, using something that someone else made.
Okay, perfect. Well, I took a note of that, so I think I'm going to play around. Just even if I don't use it, I think it's just good for experience anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
Final question I wanted to ask was that I've done around 6-7 challenges at the moment, and I haven't passed any. Like I started in August, right when everything went downhill, so it's been a bit difficult. I wanted to ask, if I was to get a refund and then join back, hopefully when things start to pick up, am I allowed to join back, let's say Feb, March?
Yeah, so the way it works is if you claim a refund and you join back, you would have to pay whatever the highest price is. At that time of you joining back, it may be higher than what you joined now, like previously, for example. And when you join back, the refund policy doesn't apply to you because you've already claimed it once, if you know what I mean. So it doesn't apply again. So, but yeah, you are allowed to do that if you want. But I'm not sure if you heard at the start of the call, I mentioned we now have a risk-free way of taking challenges. Did you hear that at the start?
I joined 10 minutes in.
Oh, okay, perfect. I won't go into detail again because I've already explained it, and we're going to make an announcement about it soon. But we essentially figured out a way to take prop firm challenges risk-free. So if, let's say you take a 100K account, it costs $500. If you fail the account, we have a way where you can hedge that on a personal account, and you would make your $500 on the personal account. So every time you take a prop firm challenge, you would essentially, if you fail, you make the money back on your personal account. If you pass, you lose money on your personal account, but we've done the math where it's risk-free even on your first payout. If you like pass everything and you get a payout, it's completely risk-free. Again, we'll explain that a lot better with maths and visuals and whatnot in the future, but it's all ready to go, ready for January. So going forward in 2024, there will be a way of essentially doing this risk-free. You would do everything exactly the same as you're doing now. The only extra step is you're going to set up a trade copier to copy to your personal account in the inverse direction of wherever the trades are being taken on the prop firm account.
Okay, that makes sense. So you open one that's not with a wait, is it with a prop firm?
No, it's with your personal, like a broker like IC Markets or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm excited for that. Right,
That's very cool.
Appreciate it.
No worries. Anyone else? Let's hear from Michael. Haven't heard from you yet. So I'll get to the written questions in a second, guys. Just gonna do some more voice ones for now.
What do you think is the best way to pick a strategy in January? Because since the leaderboard strategies that are up there have run through December, but December is not a usual
Yeah.
month.
Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing is, again, I'll put this in my announcement channel nearer to the time, but I'm essentially going to wait until the 2nd or 3rd week of January just to see if there's any strategies that are actually done well on like the 1st week of January or the 2nd week of January, and meet like the strategy criteria that we have. That is literally the only way we can decide. You can kind of ignore the December results as long as the criteria is being met with the most recent results. But yeah, I'll post in my announcement channel just doing a breakdown of why I recommend certain strategies and what strategies to use at the time when we start again in January. But yeah, we'll essentially just wait a week or two after January just to see how strategies are doing at the start of the year. Brian, I'm unmuting you now.
Yeah, I had a question about, I think you helped me before, but I wanted a little bit more direction because when we're back testing, if I pick 3 or 4 criteria and I'm running, let's say I ran one that was 64 different versions of a strategy on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
And I got into a problem. They shut my account down because they said I was running too much data. So how do you control that? Do you just run it for 3 hours a day and it may take you 3 days to run it? I think I only have 8 cores on my machine, so it's not super fast.
Yeah.
So how do we do this? Because I lost one of my accounts because of that.
So there's 2 ways to get around it. So one, you can just optimize an MT5. If you DM me, I'll send you a video on how to do that after this. 2, you can just run a small amount of MTP tests. So in our next update of Titan X and Titan AC, there's going to be a feature that randomizes the delay entry for you. So you only need to run like 1 or 2 MTP tests rather than like 64 to create a unique strategy.
Got it.
And 3, so FTMO and TFF are the 2 firms that do this. The way around it on TFT is that they have a spread test account, which is like a demo account that they let anyone log into and use to check the spreads and stuff. You can actually optimize on that account without getting that email saying you're doing too much. So they're the sort of like 3 options. But like I said, the new feature would require you to just optimize 1 or 2 files. So you shouldn't be experiencing it again in the future.
Can they do a video? Can you do a video or write up? I mean, I'm at an airport right now, but
yeah.
I really want, that's so important. And I don't want to create my own strategy. I want to optimize others, but I want to know how to do it as efficiently as possible.
Yeah.
And when I ran my 64 test, it maxed out my machine for, I don't know, 8 hours, 10 hours.
Yeah.
Took a whole night.
Yeah. Once the feature's out, either this week or next week, there'll be a video along with it showing you how to do it. And I'll probably make my own personal video for you guys as well.
Okay, next question. Real quick question, another one. When we've got our main firm. So like if you want to put funds or you wanted to try another one, a firm that's not on the leaderboard, how do you just have to manually go in and tweak the daily profits? I mean, just set some of the stuff to make sure you don't violate the rules, or in your opinion, do you never deviate? You only try the prop firms that are on the leaderboard.
So what I recommend to most people is stick to the leaderboard, just because everything's done for you. Going to other prop firms that aren't on the leaderboard is something a lot more advanced, and it's like you need to be experienced and know what you're doing, because you need to read all their rules, make sure the strategy you're using is adhering to their rules, their leverage, their different targets, etc. Then you need to adjust the strategy to their prop firm data if they have a different broker. So you then need to optimize the strategy to work on their broker. So it is quite complex. So we just recommend sticking to the leaderboard. They're the best prop firms. We know everything works. All the hard work's done for you. So going to other prop firms is something you only do when you're experienced and you're like maxed out at the prop firms on the leaderboard already, for example. So,
okay. And a while ago, you had mentioned you'd come up with a new way that there's going to be stuff coming about it, like where you have your own account. So if your challenges are 100K accounts, do you have to put 100K in another account? So you've got your own 100K there, and then you're taking, how does it have to be 1 for 1, or how do you do it?
So we'll go into more detail when it's actually released. There'll be like a video with it and some spreadsheets with the math, but essentially it just has to be like 3 times the amount of your challenge. So if your challenge costs $500, you have to put $1,500 into your personal account.
Okay, that's easy. I'm real interested about that.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
we'll dive into more detail on that once it's come out. But yeah, we're really excited for it. It should be amazing.
I know you've got a bunch of funded accounts right now. Did you get a $2 million account? Because I was looking back at prior videos. I thought it said that you had a $2 million, but then I thought you only had like 400,000 or 500,000 you were trading. So what are you doing?
So at one point I had a million in. I've never had a 2 million actual funded account. It's always been like multiple 100Ks, 200Ks,
yeah.
whatever. But I had 1 million at one point, got some payouts, lost it. Then I got another 1.3 million, lost like 1 million of it, and then gained back like 200 or 300K. So I'm sitting at 500K at the moment, and then a couple of accounts in phase 2, all waiting until January.
So you just hold off. They don't penalize you. So you've got your active accounts and you stall them for a month, whatever, 6 weeks, and then you jump back in.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay. All right. That's all. Thank you so much. I appreciate everything you do.
No problem. Thank you. Right, I'm just going to go back to the written questions quickly, and then we'll come back to the voice. I just want to make sure I'm getting to everyone. Should we change the VPS service? No, you do not need to change that. Just make sure that you upgrade to Windows 2019 or 2016, I believe. And just so you know, when you do upgrade, they completely wipe your server. So if you need to save any files or anything from your VPS before you upgrade, do that. Like transfer over to your personal computer, because it gets completely wiped when they upgrade it. I heard you use dedicated servers instead of VPSs. It's just better alternative, quicker. So again, before I joined BF, I was using dedicated servers for other things. So I just carried on using them. The advantage of a dedicated server is the resources are dedicated to you, so you can typically backtest a little bit faster. Yeah, that's like the main that's like the main advantage. You can backtest a little bit faster, essentially. You can find out by backtesting the last year's January to see how the strategy does in January. Yes, you can backtest last year's January to see. Is obviously not going to be really accurate, but you can kind of see how it would have done last year in January. Yeah, that's a very valid thing to do if you would like. How much did I make when I made the 1 million funded? So when I had the 1 million, I was using weekly strategies, and I think I just made 2% on the 1 million. So that was, oh no, I didn't make 2%. I made 4% on the 1 million, so $40,000, and then after the profit split, I had roughly like $30,000 from that. Lost them all. Then I got 1.3 million and made around like 90K in withdrawals from that. And then yeah, now I'm just with 500K funded, waiting to start next year. Cool. Okay, we'll go back to the voice questions. Okay. JD, I believe you're next.
Yeah, Fred, I heard somebody mention about using or having channel more accounts or whatever. How are they running that many accounts on their VPS when I'm having problems running one, as far as, well, you seen what's going on with my VPS, correct?
Yeah.
So how is that done? And I know you did recommend, which I think I'm going to eventually try to dedicated VPS eventually. So that may be one of the options, but how are people doing that using just the regular VPS that's being recommended through BEF?
So he wasn't actually doing it. He was just wondering about it. But the typical rule is if you have, let's say your VPS has 2 CPU cores, then you can run 2 to 4 MT5 accounts on it. So if you buy a bigger VPS with, let's say, 16 cores, then you can run like 30 accounts on it, for example. It's just purely based off how many CPU cores your VPS has. Obviously, more expensive more CPU cores you have, the more expensive the monthly cost is for the VPS. So it just depends on how many accounts you're running, essentially.
So how do you know once you purchase, because this VPS thing is obviously all new to me. How do you know how many cores that you're purchasing? Because this is where I equate everything. Not that I have the money to do it, but if I want to make money, I don't mind putting out money as long as I know I'm going to get it on the back end. In other words, I want to get why buy a Hyundai if I can afford to buy a Lexus or whatever if it's going to run better, to get the better service. So okay, so you're showing me how to find.
Yeah, so on any VPS website, they will always say before you buy how many CPU cores it is. So you can see this says CPU 1, this one says 2, this one's 4. This is 1. Do you know what I mean? So they would say how many CPU cores it has while you're buying it, like while you're adding it to your cart.
What did you click on? What icon or what did you click on to see that? Because that's very good information. I had to go back. I need to upgrade. I need to do something then.
I just went on the my Forex VPS like checkout page for where you originally bought the VPS. I believe there's a link in the Discord, or you can just DM me. I can send you the link for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and the other question is, and I'm gonna let someone else hop on. Again, I think that's an awesome or brilliant idea you all in reference to being able to do the copy it to another account that's not being, it's not a prop firm account, your personal account. But on that same token, will we be able to do some type of copy trade to that same? I mean, to be able to copy trade, say if we are winning on the FTO prop firm, will we be able to copy trade to our live account, to our own personal live account?
Yep, so that's exactly how it's going to work. So you would set up everything exactly the same as normal. Pick a strategy, set up on your prop firm account, let it run. But just before you start it, you would set up a trade copier to copy from your prop firm account to your personal account. In an inverse way, of course.
So what you said, that we'll be training on how to do that eventually?
Yeah.
Awesome. So like I said, man, I'm excited about 2024, and you all are doing an awesome job, man, in trying to make this thing a lot better for everyone. But again, I appreciate you. I'm gonna let someone else talk. Thanks, Britt.
No problem, thank you. Yeah, just to go off that as well, BF have been really improving and taking this time to improve and come up with new ideas and stuff. So it's been great to see. I mean, I've been a customer for a year, and the change, even just month by month, the amount of changes and new features they're doing, they're constantly improving, constantly investing back into the company and stuff. It's really amazing to see what we've done. And now with this risk-free way of taking prop firm challenges in 2024, I mean, essentially you would never lose money. You would only be gaining money. So it's going to be crazy what we can achieve in 2024. And it doesn't break any prop firm rules as well, which is the best part of it. It's not anything shady or breaking any rules. So yes, Richard, it's kind of like that video that you're referencing. It would be like that, yeah. Joe, I don't think Joe's announced it yet, but he will be soon. I'm not even sure if I was allowed to say it, but yeah, he will be announcing it soon, releasing a video with it, training on it, Excel sheet, showing all the maths and all that sort of stuff, different ways you can do it and whatnot. I will also provide my own trading for people I coach as well. So it literally took me an extra 5-10 minutes on top of my normal setup to set up a live personal account, fund it, and set up the trade copier.
Hey, Prit, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, pal, I wanted to say one thing to you guys, that as a complimentary, what you have done as a blueprint farm, you have given an access to a lot of people to make a good income, right? And let's say, especially those people who want to learn forex trading and who want to become, let's say, professionals in this industry, you have given them a backup to get that done as well. And the way you have given them this sort of a backup, you see, I will give you an example that if someone wants to become professional or start to learn everything, they will need to leave their normal job and start to input hours to learn and become professional within this industry. So what would happen is that the income that a normal man would be getting from his job, that income would normally stop coming. But what you have done is you have literally given an opportunity that hey, listen, you want to do something, you can do it this way, you can get your income as well, and plus you can learn how this whole industry works. It like literally you have given an opportunity to a person to advance to the next level. Because I personally, if I think about myself, that as soon January comes in, I start to get access to Titan X and Titan AC. If everything goes well, I don't need to worry about any income or about my job, that hey, I need to go to my job, work and get some income to meet all the expenses. I will know that there is something going in my backup, is going to be coming to my bank, and what will happen is that the time which I will spend at work, that time I can spend learning about forex trading and how everything works. So it's not only, you see, it's not only just blindly depending on AI or on copying our traders. It's something that you would know yourself too. Then that hey, I want to know, I want to learn. You know, I want to be at the driving seat where I can place my own trades too. So this is one of the opportunities that you guys have given a big time. You know, a massive, massive applause to you, man.
Thank you. No, yeah, it's been life-changing for me as well. I mean, I've been doing this for a year and it's replaced, you know, any income. I don't need to work a job. You know, I do this full time, and you know, I really saw my results kind of level up because I had the time to put into this, because you know I was doing this full time, so I had the time to put into it to learn more, to you know make a plan, just to do all the sort of research I can, learn everything I can, and yeah, it's really life changing. And now, especially with this risk-free way of taking prop firm challenges next year, you know, we hopefully should be seeing a lot more people, you know, do this full time and can kind of, you know, change their lives like it did for me and many other people. So yeah.
No, absolutely, absolutely, man. Because the thing is, pal, at the end of the day, you see the expenses, especially here in the UK. The council tax is not going to stop, you know, the rent is not going to stop, your insurance is not going to stop, mobile bill is not going to stop. They will be coming out from your bank, regardless whether you're working or not, you know.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
if you want to achieve something, these are there are a couple of things that come into the way. And with the Blue Edge Forex company, like what they have done, and including you as well, this is I will say, a hurdle which you have kind of removed from a normal man's life. That hey, listen, you want to do something, your finance can be taken care of in this sort of a way, and you can go the other way as well if you want to success in life.
Yeah, it's really great. You know, and I think it speaks to the kind of person people are as well. I mean, you can come into this and just be lazy and not want to learn anything, not want to do anything, just download the bot, download the strategy, let it start, and you can be successful and it works for you. But people that put in the extra time to understand it, it really frames their mindset and their psychology, and they think about it a little bit more and they put in some more time, they learn things. They're just going to have a little bit more of a smoother process, and they're going to be able to handle like the losses, the wins, and and you know, really refine it down. I think a lot of people, when they come into this, they don't realize that you should be treating this like a business. You should be making a plan. You should be managing your finances. You know, you should be taking it seriously rather than just like a get rich quick scheme or something like that, as many people come into Forex with the mindset of. So my best
No,
advice is definitely for everyone just to treat this seriously and like a business essentially. But again, like I said, it's perfectly successful.
no,
Even if
definitely,
you
pal,
don't.
definitely. Because there are some people, you know, they will just come in and they will know that, hey, there's a bot that's going to do the work, and that's it. We can just sit down and do nothing, you know. But
Yeah,
to be honest with you, what I believe, or that's what my opinion is, regardless what you do in your life, you should, whatever you do, you should take that and make that as an opportunity to
Yeah.
to grow to the next one. Not, you know, just
100%.
like, okay, you know what, that's it, I've succeeded. No, that's not the end, you know. You can grow
100%.
more than that. And this is something that I personally, I had been looking for something as such that, hey, I want to learn all about Forex, all about these trades, or from A to Z, you know how everything works with the candlesticks, with the charts, with the banks, and etc. But because knowing that my expenses are not going to stop and I have to work, what was happening is I was unable to put any time into it or put any effort into it. But when I came across to you guys, that's where I was like, hey, you know what? This is a good start. This is something that I can do. And then I can put my whole mind. So knowing that all my expenses are covered, knowing that I don't need to worry about my rent, that's where I can then focus a whole solely into this industry and start to learn everything from A to Z.
For sure.
But anyway, thanks to you guys again, man.
No problem at all. Well, I'm going to make this the last questions, live voice questions, Cameron, and then we'll move on to written, and then we'll end the call here. Just being wary of time.
Yeah, 100%, man. I appreciate your time. This has definitely been super, super helpful. Just doing it face to face, so much easier.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask, so you know, when you have like a strategy, if you take a strategy off the leaderboard, it's been running for 30 days, it's been forward tested, and we make them changes like what you mentioned previously. Do we have to leave it to be forward tested again, or could we just add it on straight away?
No, so if you only make a small amount of changes to make it unique rather than making it into an actual custom strategy, then no, you don't need to do that. As far as if you make a custom strategy, can you use it without letting it run for 30 days first? Absolutely, use your own custom strategy, you can do that, but just know obviously it won't be covered by the refund policy. But if you're just making it unique, you know, small changes in the delay or the lot size or whatever, then you don't need to wait another 30 days. That's fine.
And then I literally just came back into the call, and then I was listening to just a previous channel, and it got me thinking, because I'm working in marketing at the moment, and I was curious to know, if I was to focus on just literally taking strategy from the leaderboard, making it a bit more unique, and then applying it to my Titan X or AC, is there anything outside of that that I should be focusing on that will take up my time? Like, I know there's one thing could be back testing, like every week to see what the score was for the week, to see if you can change anything like that. I was just curious to get your input on like what you kind of do week to week that takes up your time and what you focus on.
So nowadays I barely spend any time on it. So I'll probably spend 30 minutes a week just managing my accounts. For example, that's just setting it up or getting a phase 2 account, setting it up, a funded account, whatever. I don't really spend that much time on anything else at all. So in your case, I'm not sure, did you see Joe's like $1 million journey thing on YouTube? So all he done was take a strategy off the leaderboard, change the delay. I even think on some he didn't even change anything. He just kept it exactly the same, and just ran it. So you can be very successful just doing that. But there's nothing else outside of that you would need to do if that's all you're doing. There's nothing extra you could really do to change your results or improve them. The only thing you can do past that point, once you're more experienced, is of course make your own strategies. But you know, that's quite down the line, and it's absolutely not needed.
That's insane to hear that you would spend 30 minutes a week.
Yeah, no, I barely spend any time on it at all now.
Yeah. So
Some weeks even 10 minutes maybe.
what do you do mostly? Like, do you work on something on the side? Do you travel a lot?
So obviously I'm employed full time here as a coach, so that
Yeah.
takes up most of my time. Outside of that, I'm just chilling with my girlfriend, socializing, whatever. I do obviously make my own strategy, so my strategies typically last for like 1 to 2 months before I need to remake one. But to make a strategy for me, it just takes like 1 to 2 days, and that's like an hour or two work, and then the rest of the time is just waiting around for tests to finish. So yeah, it's once you get to a certain point, the time you put into it is very minimal once you know exactly what you're doing.
Yeah, it's just that getting through that learning curve, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so you mentioned that sometimes strategies last between 1 to 2 months or so. Do you find that strategy sometimes that used to work in the past start working for a little bit, but then they start working again?
Most strategies do that. So they typically fall off at that point. They do come back and pass again, but then their pass rate, because they had that losing period, is a lot lower than like newer strategies we make, for example. So, and the market's always changing, so it's good to continuously optimize, but you have to optimize over a long period. So, for example, for me, I optimize from January to whatever the current date is. So, say I made a strategy back in June, that was only made off 6 months of data. And then let's say in July it started losing, but then it came back in October to start winning again. But regardless of that, the pass rate is going to be a lot lower than if I then created a new strategy that was from January to October. Now it includes a lot more data, and that pass rate is, let's say, 90% over like 8 months instead of 90% over 6 months. So it's always good to continuously re-optimize, but quite a lot of people I know that obviously successful, they don't need to follow the plan anymore. They actually on some of their accounts they just use old strategies that have started working again and things like that. It's once you get to a certain stage and you can afford like 30-40 accounts, you can take one strategy, one challenge a week with like a new strategy, one challenge a week with an old strategy, and essentially basically at least one of them will pass. So like once you get to a stage where you've made a lot of money and you can take a lot of accounts at once, you can start experimenting and take like an old strategy, a new strategy, one strategy that's counter trend, one strategy. You can literally do whatever you want essentially once you get to a certain stage.
Okay, yeah, that's hopefully the long-term plan, taking this full time, because at the moment, with marketing, I do my own thing at the moment, but it just when I'm working with my clients one-to-one, but it just takes so much time. And the long-term plan is, as you said, it's only going to take 30 minutes of your time per month if you to do it. And then if you are scaling up to 30, 40 accounts where you're doing it like literally, full time instead of doing a 9 to 5 job, that is hopefully the plan. It would be cool to see. I don't know if like how it works with taking notes and stuff for AMAs, but getting a sense of what the future could be if you would scale out like 30 accounts, how that process would kind of work. For obviously the vast majority of people, it won't be applicable. But just getting an idea of what the future could be like, because at the moment that's very foreign to me. Even just having 5 accounts, it's like, oh my God, it's so confusing. But yeah, just as a note, that would be pretty cool.
Sure. I may make a video this week or next week, just kind of maybe showing my setup. That'd be cool for everyone to see, just to see what the future may look like and how little work it actually is and stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely do that for sure.
That'd be cool, man.
Cool. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna wrap up now. If you have any last questions, just type it in the chat. I'll quickly answer them. You mentioned you would show us how the Titan X AC bot are actually taking their trades. That way we can replicate it on our own personal accounts. How they're actually taking trades. So I don't really understand that, JD. Would you mind just DMing me that, please, JD, and explain a little bit more, and then we'll talk in the DMs about it. I'll send you a voice note maybe. Is there any way to measure your VPS latency? I'd like to know that to input into the strategy tester unless it's not important. So what I personally do in the strategy tester, most prop firms have like a 200 to 300 millisecond delay as a standard on their trade. So what I do in my back testing in my ini files, I just set the execution delay on the ini file to like 200 or something like that. Can you teach us how to make a personal custom strategy? I will do that in a future Zoom call or a video. For sure, yeah, I'll do that. Just can't do it now, obviously, running out of time. Cool. Can you explain profit baskets quickly? Sure. Let me see, what's the best way? Okay, I'll explain it myself just on voice. So essentially profit basket split into 4 things: a goal, a start, a stop, and the type. So the goal is the ultimate goal of the trade. So let's say you set the goal to 4,000. That means the second your trades get into $4,000 profit, it will cut the trade. Start and stop is like the trailing stop loss essentially. So if you have a start at 2,000, that means when profits of your open trades go into $2,000 profit, it will start that trailing stop loss. And then the stop is where that stop loss will be trailing from. So let's say the start is 2,000 and the stop is 2,000. That means when you go into $2,000 profit, the stop would be $2,000 below that. So it'll be at $0 profit. So if it goes to $2,000 profit, then comes back down to $0 profit, it'll cut the trades. If it goes to $3,000 in profit and it comes back down $2,000, it'll cut the trades at $1,000 profit. The last setting is how the profit basket works. So if once hitting the goal, it starts again immediately, or it waits till the next day or the next week. So once you hit that goal of $4,000, for example, depending on the setting, it will either start to look for new trades based off your entry criteria, only enter new trades if the entry criteria is being met, like the MAs, or it would wait till the next day. How trades are entered and exit. I think I made a video on that, JD, in my announcements channel. I'll DM you a link to that. How do you feel about VPS diversification? You could do that, yeah, for sure. I mean, we were pretty certain that the issue's now resolved with VPSs as long as you upgrade to like Windows 2019 or something. But for sure, you can just use multiple VPSs if you want to be safe. I would just say use one VPS for one prop firm rather than 2 different VPSs for one prop firm, because that may cause an issue. I'm not too sure. Like on their end, they may try and flag you or something. Cool. Cool. Thanks, everyone. I'm going to cut it here. I think just mindful of time. I don't want to go on for too long, but thanks. This has been amazing. I appreciate everyone joining and asking the questions. I feel like you guys really like this, and to be honest, it was quite nice for me as well, just to answer questions over voice instead of text, which was I can be a little bit more detailed and stuff. So yeah, it was great. It was great having everyone here, and I'll try to do this again sometime next year. And for sure, I'll be doing an optimization sort of AMA, or at least a video just going over optimization and how I do it and how I approach it. So yeah, thank you, everyone. And this has been recorded, so I'll upload the recording and then post it in the farmers chat and my announcements channel for everyone to see. Thanks, everyone. Hope you have a good day.